Right. +1/+1 mechanics are boring. I You're not wrong. It's not that +1/+1 mechanics are boring. It's just I haven't seen a way to use them that just is like, oh fuck yeah, like MJN. The game went down an hour ago, and they said about an hour of downtime. An hour or so of downtime, it may be longer. Given how I know about how updates to games work, they say an hour. Don't plan on an hour. Plan longer. And if it happens in 8 minutes, like dope. That's not how game launches go a lot of times. So I have extensive experience with that. So hopefully I'm wrong. If it goes live in 8 minutes, dope. And it does help that they released like some of the stuff to the streamers already. So I think that will be that'll be good for them. But been able to get in the game and just an update. All right, cool. Thanks, Whiskey. Appreciate that. So let's go over the last color combination here. I don't know what else. What is the rest of this? Is that just? Oh, so this is just everything. This is what, creatures probably. Yeah, this is creatures. So this is probably instants, sorceries, enchantments, artifacts, and then land, obviously. Oh, that's cool. I don't know if I just noticed this, but like the background, that's dope. And then planeswalkers. Cool. Oh yeah, those are the other planeswalkers. Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. So to start off, blue green. I don't know. And blue green like, Simic is always kind of like. It's not that it's bad. You just kind of it does weird stuff, and I'm okay with that. I think flavor-wise, regardless of any gameplay implications, I'm not talking about power. I'm not talking about defining a meta. I'm not talking about anything about that. Just flavor. I think Rakdos has a lot of good flavor and also will affect the meta. I think the flavor in Azorius and Orzhov is for the most part boring. Gruul, the flavor is just like, yo dog, we got creatures, which is sort of Rakdos has like the circus thing, and it's like, oh, the dealing small consistent damage, and then fueling like circus shit. Like, okay, cool. The flavor in this color combination in Simic here is if we're doing just 10-point scale on that, it's like a 9 or a 10 without question. Like, the fact that there's a fish octopus crab is objectively funny. I'll enter myself here real quick. Do I know when Arena Seal pops up? I don't know. I would imagine soon-ish. Supposedly the update should be ready in about 5 minutes. I don't know if... I think Sealed is one of the first things they're doing, so if the update goes through, then I imagine that's the situation you'll be in, so you'll be able to play a Sealed. But soon, TM. No problem. Not so newbie. I appreciate the question. But anyway, I think the flavor here is going to be incredible. Merfolks do get some love. Merfolks were already in like, they're not top tier, but they're like, you play against a Merfolk deck and you're like, shoot me. But you can deal with it. Fish octopus crab, I don't care what it does. Like literally, his text box could not exist. Don't care. This is cool. A Sharkta crab. Who doesn't want to play a Sharkta crab? If you say that you have no interest in playing a Sharkta crab in any deck, then like, I'm not even, like, the most jank person in the world, but, like, you have to play Shark to Crab. At some point in your day, or in your Magic life in the next 3 months, you have to play Shark to Crab. This has got to happen. And if you don't, you're in the wrong stream. We're going to play Shark to Crab. Anyway, Prime Speaker Vanifar. 2/4 legendary for 4. Sacrifice another creature, search your library for a creature card. So she is survival of the fittest if you're OG. She's survival of the fittest in creature form. She's going to be fun. She's another card that, like, when it comes out, you have to deal with it. Because if it gets one turn to do its thing, it's not going to be fun for you. So 2/4 that sits there, if it gets lava coiled or conclaved or whatever, then, you know, whatever. But if it comes out and it stays there for a turn, you know. Wasn't it Survival of the Fittest? Survival of the Fittest was the enchantment that you paid 1 green, sacrificed a creature, and then... I mean, I know there's another version. I know they've done... Choose and discard a creature card. Search your library for a creature card. And be like, oh no, I'm wrong. Today I learned. I'm dumb. Somewhere there's other cards I was thinking of. Thank you for the correction. Which one was Birthing Pod? I mean, I know it's probably the... Do I remember that card, or was that... Oh, okay. So I don't remember that one as well, so I was just wishful thinking. So it's a Birthing Pod. So thank you for the correction. Much appreciated, Twitch chat. If you're watching on YouTube, come join Twitch chat and correct me, because I happen to be wrong pretty frequently. So yeah, if she stays out, I just spit a little bit over it that way. So she stays out a turn, things are probably going to be bad, because once you get like 1 or 2 uses out of her, the problem is not just that you've got 1 or 2 uses out of her. The problem is that you've got 1 or 2 uses out of her, and then the things that you've got out are probably you need to deal with as well as dealing with her. So if you deal with her, she's already put out something that's pretty relevant and makes your life bad. Or if you get deal with her at that point, then you now have to still deal with the stuff that's now bigger than her. So deal with her on turn 1 as best you can, because things get not fun for you at that point. Hydrated Krasis, Exen, I'm not a Hydra person, and there's not been a lot of in the history of Magic, or at least whenever I play them. Sure, there's, you know, some there that are, like, good. Hydra's have always been kind of like a meme card. Like, they're the fireball of green, but you have to wait a turn, and it does something usually unnecessary, like, oh, if you block it, I get 100 counters on it. Like, cool. Cast down. Like, but a Jellyfish Hydra Beast, that's cool. 0/0 for X and a blue and a green. Gain half X life and draw half X cards. Round down each time. Flying Trample. I think the sweet spot here is like... I think this card's playable, by the way. I think this card is very playable. So I think you're looking like... Okay, let's say we do... 5 mana is bad. You don't want to pay 5 mana for this. So the X was 3, because then you round down and you draw 1 card and you gain 1 life. So a 3/3 flying a trample, draw a card. Still not bad. I mean, still a 3/3 flying trample, draw a card, gain a life for 5. You're not excited about it, but you draw a card at least. But now when you get up to paying 6 total mana, the 4/4 flying trample that you draw 2 and gain 2, now that's exciting. That's exciting. And then anything above that, you're great. Even a 2/2 flying trample, draw 1, gain 1, that's not terrible. So you're looking at 4 mana and 6 mana are your sweet spots really with the card. Anything above 6 mana total is gets out of hand very quickly. 2 and 4 mana you still get relative value out of. Probably still better things in those spots individually, but this has a little bit of flexibility. I expect to see play. Don't know how much and don't know what decks, but it will see play. Interesting thing about before we go on, anything interesting thing about the blue-green situation is if you splash red, you've got access to Riot at that point, and Riot, the +1/+1 counters are just counters, so you can still manipulate them with Adapt. So I do expect to see a decent amount of that going on. So Zagana, a Utopian Speaker, 4/4 for 4, already like useful. She's legendary, so got to deal with that. In a battlefield, you control. If you control another creature with a 1/1 counter on, draw a card. So a 4/4 to draw a card for 4, which if you're playing her, you're going to draw that card 95% of the time. And if you're not, you probably already lost. So pay 6 and adapt 4, and then each creature you control with a 1/1 counter on has trample. I think in decks that use her she's going to be a very, very big deal. Probably see multiple copies of it just to make sure you draw it. She gives you a late game win condition. She makes things difficult for you in the mid games because everything's going to have trample. She's drawing cards. She's going to do a little bit of everything for you. She's a Merfolk Wizard, so she does have a couple creature types that are useful. She works with Wizard's Retort. If you want to go some weird wizard thing that doesn't exist yet or that may exist, like, cool, you can do that. She's got options. 4/4 for 4 that draws you a card and that also, like, does other things. She's going to be good, and the deck's the player. Guild Mage, each creature, additional 1/1 counter, like, okay, cool. I think he's more thematic than the rest of them. Playable in draft. I think potentially playable in constructed. Don't know. Could go either way. Kind of the Guild Mage thing. Like, you want to play him, but then you just find better things. Frilled Mystic. 3/2 flash for 4, and you counter a spell. This will see play. Be prepared to deal with this. Mystic Snake was an older card that saw a lot of play. This is a newer card that is, you could argue, better than Mystic Snake, I feel like. And, I mean, it's counterspell, block, or just, I mean, hell, it's even a 3/2 flash in general, so you can just literally just flash it in and block. So, I mean, like, it's useful. And it's an elf, an elf lizard wizard, which is, once again, hilarious. And I'll point that out every time. Biomancer Familiar, 2/2 for 2. Activate abilities of creatures you control cost 2 less to activate. 4 there, gets rid of the 1s there, rid of the 1 there, rid of the 2 there, rid of the 2 there. Drops that to 4, rid of the 2. Like, a lot of usefulness just in the cards that we're looking at here. Spec can reduce the mana cost to less than 1. Oh, to less than 1. So, hold on. Oh, no, so it still works because it reduces the mana cost. Yeah, so we're still good there. It doesn't let you do it for free, though. Next time target creature adapts this turn, it adapts as though it had no 1/1 counters. So basically, tap this, and you can re-adapt this. Not that you're paying 5 mana or 4 mana to re-adapt or whatever, but you know what I mean. 2/2 for 2, so it's going to take a lot of hate. You're going to shock it a lot. It's going to see a lot of shocks. Yeah, I think, like, I mean, let's think about this, and it's a perfect situation where there's no damage or counters or, whatever. Play him on turn 2, then, like, you either have, like, Llanowar Elf turn 1, Biomancer turn 2, Utopian turn 3, and then turn 4, your Zagana is an 8/8 trample. And then the next turn, and it comes a 12/12 trample if you want to, like, do that. Like, things get out of hand very quickly. There's a lot of ways to deal with it. I know cast downs and cannonades and just so many different things, but, like, there are a lot of different things you can do there. Where are we at? Simic Ascendancy. 2 mana, pay 3, put a 1/1 counter on it. Whenever you put a 1/1 counter on something, you can put a counter on it. And then if you have 20 more growth counters on it, you win the game. So, like, these two work really well together. I don't, like, paying 3 to put a 1/1 counter on something isn't that terrible anyway. Once again, this card could be a staple in every deck, or you never see it, one of the two, because it's going to be up to a lot of playtesting to see how the best way to occur 20 counters is. And also, too, if you've got 20 counters out there, or put 20 counters out there, you might be winning anyway. So, like, having a 12-12 with 9 counters on, yeah, you put 9 counters, you got a 12-12 trample out. Like, just attack. Speaking of which, 3-3 for 5, trample. When it enters the battlefield, you may remove any one of our 1-1 counters from among creatures you control. Do put twice that many on there, so you just eat counters, make him giant, which does fuel this, because let's say you have 3 counters out. You've already got 3 counters on that. You remove them, put them on him, he gets 6 counters, so you put another 6 counters on that, so you have 9 counters on that. But even doing that, you've only got 9 counters there. Not saying it's not possible. I'm probably wrong on that. I don't know if this will see play. I hope it sees play because that's fun. Good memes. Still playable. Hopefully that works. 1-1 for 3 to add 2, so you accelerate from 3 to 6 mana. So, because you turn 3, play him. So you skip your turn 3, but the next turn you, in theory, play land, and then you get 2 more mana available. So assuming he stays out, you have 6 mana on turn 4. I mean, he's like, if you see him, you have to get rid of him. I mean, you lava coil him, you shock him, you do whatever. He's risky to play because of all, like, especially with Rakdos being around. If he was a 1-3, he's definitely a little better. I mean, he's definitely significantly better. At a 1-1 for 3, he's risky, but he can work. Best card in the set because it's a fish octopus crab. 4-4 for 4. I'm gonna go get some water. Every one or more counters are. What up, baby? I'm actually doing like pseudo recording for YouTube or whatever. So it's maybe not on YouTube, so who knows? 4-4 for 4, pay 4 to adapt 1. Not ideal. That's a pretty expensive adapt cost. But whenever 1-1 counter is put on Shark, tap target creature and opponent controls. So you actually do get an ability out of it. But a 4-4 for 4, I think this is playable in the deck that wants to play it. Going to get overshadowed in other things, so you're not just going to randomly throw it in. But its adapt cost is a little high, but with a Biomancer or something, you've got some cool stuff. A Homunculus Mutant, obviously. 2-3 for 3, flying, 4 to adapt 1. Nothing exciting. Still playable in draft, just being a 2-3 flying for 3. Apply Biomancy. 2 mana, 1 or both, 1-1, and return target creature. This is actually very good. This will definitely see play. One of the better commons in the set, I think. Just 2 mana to return a creature isn't terrible in and of itself. And then getting, like, this is a very tempo-oriented card. So you've got a 2-2 on the board, they've got a 2-2 on the board. Instead of them just blocking or you not attacking, they now have to replay the 2-2, and you get 3 damage through. They set them turn back, so very good, you will see play. Growth Spiral is nutty. I say one of the best, this might be the best common in the set. Without, frame of reference really at this point. 2 mana to draw a card, and you can put a land from your hand in the battlefield. That's just really good. There's no way around it. That's just a fantastic card. It'll see a lot of play in a lot of decks. Turbo Fog's better. Decks that don't even exist yet are better because of this card. This is a fantastic card. Let's see. 6-6 for 6. Defender. Adapt. Crab, Turtle, Crocodile. Hilarious. Probably not good. Growth Chamber Guardian 2-2 for 2. Pay 3 to adapt 2. Whenever one or more growth counters are put on it, you may search the library for a land card or a card named Growth Chamber Guardian. Reveal it. So turn 2, you play this 2-2 for 2, assuming it makes it. You skip your. You play land. You now have a 4-4, and then you drew another. It's an elf, so I think that actually makes it useful because you're drawing more elves, and elves like elves. I think this card's actually good and playable because you're getting a card out of it. It's going to draw a lot of hate, so as soon as they see it, probably going to kill it. But on turn 3, it becomes a 4-4 that is usually hard to deal with, especially if you went first. A 4-4 on turn 3 that can attack is is not fun to deal with. And then you also draw a card from that you get, and then you can kind of start the process over. Yeah, I like this card, actually. Where's the RNA card that you can have more than one? I'm doing the guilds, and I don't think it is technically in one of the guilds because of the abilities it has, but it's a blue card that's a mage that mills. It's like 3 mana, 2 mana, I think 2 or 3 mana. It's a 1/2 that you can mill a whole bunch of stuff. I'll go and look for it momentarily. Something that you're gonna be annoyed when you see. Kind of like rats. You're just like, ah. Incubation Druid, 0/2 for 2. Add 1 mana of any land that you can produce. 1/1 counter on a 3 mana. So there's gonna be some memes around this because you're gonna try and there's like a couple different ways to put a 1/1 counter on something pretty early. Whether they stay memes, like it's going to start off as memes. You're like, how can I get 17 mana on turn 3? Well, if I run 16 Incubation Druids and they all end up in my hand and then I can chain put them out, like, yeah, you can do stuff like that and it's fun and it's cool, but is it good? Doesn't have to be good to be fun. That's fine. But I wonder if this card becomes like, random combo-y thing that you try and do or actually sees real play, and I don't know. So, Trollbeard Guardian, 5/5 for 5, adapt to, this will never see play. The reason this will never see play is because she exists, and she's just better. And he's just, there's just better cards. It's okay in draft, but, he just won't see real play. 2/2 for 2, adapt, this card you have to have. If you get it last pick in draft, you don't hate yourself, but, whatever. 1/1 for 1, adapt. Okay, this card, or no, it wasn't this card. A 1/1 for 1, adapt 1, whenever, draw a card, then. So 1/1 for 1, pay 2 to draw and discard, and it becomes a 2/2. There's some stuff you can do with this. I think there are things that I'm not aware of at this point. Off the top of my head, at least. I think this will have uses, but it also could be there's a couple there's the Necroamoeba, which is it kind of it's one of those early cards. There could be a use for this, but is it actually worth even if you have a way to just filter counters on this, is it worth doing on a 1/1 creature that becomes a 2/2? And then, and you filter counters. Maybe it's a cheap source of adapt if you can continually move adapt counter, 1/1 counters around or something like that. Maybe. But I don't know that it's going to be worth for a rare. I mean, I think there's potential for the card, but there's also just potential for it to do nothing. Terramander, I think this is going to see an absolute shitload of play. I overlooked it when I was looking at these cards originally, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I stopped reading it 8 mana adapt 4. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. But then if you keep reading, this ability costs 1 less to activate for each instant and sorcery card in your graveyard. So it's a 1/1 flying, so it actually does things on turn 1. And then, in the decks that play it, whether it's mono blue tempo or shit, you could throw it in Drakes or whatever blue sorcery instant thing you're trying to do. It becomes a 5/5 flying for, 3 extra mana. 2, depending on your situation. You're going to see a lot of this card. Pick up 4 of them, and you'll be happy about it. 2/3 for 3, 7 billion to adapt. You can play 1 in a deck. This can actually play. You can play this if you're drafting Simic for draft. This is a win condition. It can sort of win in constructed, maybe if you have a different way to. Actually, no, you don't even need the adapt. No, this card's just good. In situations where it's playable, it's good. You don't play 4, 2 or 3. Because if you're playing 1/1 counter stuff and you just get everything flying for 4, it has impact the turn it comes into play. Turn it comes on, the adapt cost. I literally don't care about the adapt on it. If this card's gonna be good, you play it. If it has flying itself, cool, whatever. But you're not paying 6 to adapt 2 unless you've got 3 Biomancers out. Then sure, great, do it. Yeah, no, that card's good. JK, I was dumb originally. Happens to the best of us. And the worst of us, which is me. 3/3 for 4, adapts to whatever. Okay, yeah. I think I remember these being actually pretty cool. Counter target activated or triggered ability. Can't target mana abilities. That's going to be annoying in mono blue tempo, and also green now has like a pseudo counter spell. Super exciting. And then also quasi duplicate. Like just it's 3 mana quasi duplicate with no. So this card's good. You have to kind of get used to countering the abilities, but like that's good. Hey, what up, Oblivion? Incubation, look top 5 cards in your library. You may reveal a creature card from it. Put the rest. Put it into your hand. Put the rest on bottom of your library. So that's good. 1 mana. Works in green or blue to get creatures. And then 3 incongruity, excel target creature. And that creature. That's actually going to be really good. I think you're going to see a lot of incongruity. Because blue-green is going to play tempo a lot of times, and blue-green removal... Oh, excuse me, I'm going to stretch. It's gonna, oh, God, it felt so good. 3 mana to remove a big threat and just give them a 3/3 frog creature. Frog lizard creature, sorry. Also with as much bounce as there is, not that you want to use 2 on a threat if you don't want to, but, like, you're going to see this. You will definitely see these... The split cards, I think, are pretty good overall this set. Lands, land art is definitely cool here. I like the little wavy, avatar-looking stuff they kind of did here. So, all right. So this is the hardest one to rate as far as an actual like rating for me. So I do think the power level, there is potential. There's a lot of potential here. I think this card, Frill Mist is getting played a lot. I think Hydra Krasis is going to see some play. I think Applied Biolance and Growth Spire are going to see play. I think the power of this, the adapt and then doing the adapt thing, I think there's potential there, and I think people who are smarter than me are going to realize it, but being that I just don't know, I think the power level is as far as what they're trying to do is a 5, but I think the support cards here that add a lot to the other decks, I think is actually pretty high. I think the flavor is just fantastic. The adapt, well, I don't even think adapt's that good. I mean, not this is that good. I don't think the adapt ability is that cool. Somebody in chat mentioned that adapt, adding 1/1 counters and moving around is not really a fun mechanic, and I don't disagree. It's whatever. But the things that they have done, like embracing the mutants kind of thing, which is kind of fun, it's a lot of flavor. I think the casual player or the mid-tier player is going to have fun with moving, or can have some fun with playing a Shark to Crab and move some counters around and, Biomancering and then, Incubation Druid for, 17 mana and you do the thing, you're like, hell yeah, and that's dope. Do that shit. I think the professional player or the higher tier players are going to get use out of, the Mystics. Not that anybody can't get use out of it, but, the... where'd it go? Growth Spiral and Applied Biomancy. I think that's going to see a lot of higher tier play. So I do think there's a lot of flexibility here in this, which I think is actually kind of what they're going for with Adapt and then things. I think the actual Adapt, aggro creature thing may be a little underwhelming, and I think, but the other things are going to see their way into bigger decks. So I think power level here within blue-green I think's pretty low. I think it's a 5. A 5 or 6. I'm not super impressed. Actually, 6 might be a little strong. I think a 5 is about right. But if we're just going on how it's going to work into other color combinations and impact other formats even, I think you're talking significantly higher. So I think I'm kind of giving a range on things more than just a definitive power rating, because just it's hard. You don't know. You're making combinations of decks that there's literally millions, if not billions, of combinations of. So I think my initial thoughts are power level is kind of a 5 within itself, but there's a lot of cards that are going to go outside of Simic and be very, very good in a lot of other decks. So your power level actually has a potential to be up to 8. I don't think Shark to Crab's powerful. I think these cards are going to make people's lives much easier. I think Growth Chamber Guardian is cool and actually pretty decent. I think she's great. She just has to stay out. This is going to be fun and potentially very good. In the right situation, Zagana's really good, but it's a lot of right situations.